Good morning everyone. This is Kamikawa Kaolin. In the Philippines, with the hashtag Cancel Korea, the relationship between the Philippines and South Korea, and the Philippines and Japan, which has attracted a lot of attention. In this case, most Filipinos are in favor of Japan. I think it's proved that the Philippines is averse to South Korea. I'm happy to say, Japan and the Philippines were so close to each other. I'm even wondering, why is Japanophilia so pro-Japanese? I think this has nothing to do with the problem of WW2. This case is just the tip of the iceberg. There has been a long-standing dispute between the Philippines and South Korea over issues such as Kapino. Kapino is a term that refers to a child born between a Korean man and a Filipino woman. A Filipino woman abandoned by her father, a Korean, and it is said that the children, Kapino, are endless. Currently, the number is over 30,000. Against the Korean government, which has not taken any measures, I can only think that the daily dislike of Korea was unexpectedly exposed this time. Not only that, Koreans don't hesitate to look down on economically lagging countries. Some Koreans take the form of flaunt, arrogant and violent. Incidents that are generally accepted are occurring frequently all over the world. This has been happening in Taiwan since around 2012. Taxi refuses to board Koreans, restaurant is prohibited from entering and exiting Korea, etc. It can be easily inferred from the fact that the rubbing has appeared on the surface. On the other hand, what about Filipinos' evaluation of Japanese people? The Japanese look shy and introverted at first. When you get to know each other, they are really friendly. Besides, everyone is working very seriously and seems to be busy anyway. It is said that Japanese people have a strong impression of being shy and hardworking. Regarding the relationship between the Philippines and Japan, it turns out that it has a long history. The relationship between the Philippines and Japan began before the time of Hideyoshi Toyotomi in the 16th century. There were exchanges such as sending tribute and letting Japanese people live in Manila. After that, diplomatic relations with the Philippines were temporarily cut off due to Japan's isolation. Around this time, the Philippines was occupied by Spain. Meanwhile, the Spanish-American War, US versus Spain, broke out in 1898. The United States promises the Philippines that if it cooperates, it will become independent of Spain. With the help of the Philippines, the United States will defeat Spain in this war. The Philippines declared independence and the First Philippine Republic was born. However, this independence was superficial. The United States breaks its promise and effectively occupies the Philippines. The Philippines is against the United States. I will continue to fight for independence for more than 10 years. Japan supports this Philippine independence movement. He helped buy weapons and accepted the asylum of the revolutionary general. Around this time, many Japanese began to move to the Philippines as workers. One of the factors is road construction. The Benguet Road connecting Manila and Baguio is a major achievement of Japanese workers in the Philippines. The other is farm management. At that time, Davos Manila hemp cultivation, which was one of the important industries, was in short supply. Japanese companies entered the market and the industry grew significantly. As a result, many Japanese moved to Manila and Davao to form Japan towns and Japanese schools. But this wasn't the only good thing. The indigenous Bagobos of Davao have been deprived of their place of residence and work by Japanese companies that started the Macau hemp industry. For them, the Japanese were nothing but invaders. In 1939, World War II begins. The Japanese troops advanced to Southeast Asia and landed in the Philippines in 1941. A few months later, it will conquer the entire Philippines and dismantle the American-controlled political system. He joined forces with the Philippine Revolutionary Army for independence. And he established an independent nation called the Second Philippine Republic. However, the Lauyal administration did not always listen to everything Japan said. In order to maintain landowner control, the Philippine pro-Japanese faction also broke away one after another. It is said that many Filipinos, 1.1 million in one theory, and 500,000 Japanese were killed in this war. After the end of the war, the feelings toward Japan in the Philippines did not improve for a long time. In 1956, the conclusion of the Japan-Philippines Compensation Agreement officially ended the war situation between Japan and the Philippines. Following this, the Japan-Philippines Friendship Trade and Navigation Treaty, which was signed in 1960, triggered relations between the two countries will improve. Now, for the Philippines, Japan as it is a valuable source of funding for development assistance, trade and tourism. Even in the 1990s, relations between the two countries were good. As a historical example of apologizing for the actions of the Japanese side, Ambassador to the United States Ichiro Fujisaki in May 2009 and Foreign Minister Katsuya Okada on September 13, 2010 formal apology for the Bataan Death March can be mentioned. Currently, Japan is the Philippines' major trading partner, second-largest export destination and second-largest importer in 2019, and an investor. According to the statistics of the Consular Affairs Bureau of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the number of Japanese companies entering the market increased by 4.3% from the previous year to 1,502, October 2017. Japan is also the largest donor country for the Philippines. For Japan, the Philippines is one of the most important donors. The total amount of aid to the Philippines is the cumulative total of Japan's bilateral ODA. It ranks fourth after Indonesia, China and India. It is expected that there will be direct industrial development, such as support for infrastructure. In particular, assistance in the field of primary education is also sought. As mentioned earlier, the Philippines has a high average fertility rate. It is also true that some children are not satisfactorily educated. An approach to this problem is expected to be sought after in the long run. It is thought that this will lead to further strengthening of relations between Japan and the Philippines with the aim of solving the problem. In addition, there are many Filipinos migrating to Japan, and according to a survey by the Ministry of Justice, as of the end of 2017, Filipinos in Japan accounted for 292,150, which is about 10% of the number of foreigners living in Japan. From April 2019, nursing care industry, restaurant industry, accommodation industry, construction industry, shipbuilding, marine industry, building cleaning industry, raw material industry, industrial machinery manufacturing industry, electronic information related industry, automobile maintenance, aviation, agriculture, fishery, food and beverage manufacturing, specific skill number 1, that allows employment including unskilled labor in 14 industries. A new status of residence called specific skill number 2 has been established that allows family stays and renewal of the period of stay. As a result, it is expected that the number of Filipinos living in Japan will continue to increase. One of the most striking events in the relationship between Japan and the Philippines was when President Aquino visited Japan as an official business visitor in September 2011. The Japan-Philippines Joint Statement on the Comprehensive Promotion of Strategic Partnerships between Neighboring Countries with Special Friendship Bonds was issued. The two countries agreed to position bilateral relations as a strategic partnership. Also, when Prime Minister Abe made an official visit to the Philippines in July 2013, diplomacy with the Philippines, 4 initiatives: A. Fostering a vibrant economy together, B. Cooperation in the marine field, C. Strengthening support for the Mindanao peace process, D. Promotion of human exchange was announced. When President Duterte visited Japan in October 2017, announced in the Japan-Philippines Joint Statement on Bilateral Cooperation for the Next 5 Years (PDF). We have confirmed that we will further strengthen the partnership. President Duterte called Japan a friend closer than his brother. He states that Japan-Philippines relations are entering a golden age. At the Japan-Philippines Summit meeting in January of the same year, Prime Minister Abe included ODA and private investment. It has announced that it will provide 1 trillion yen in support over the next 5 years. Cooperation with the Philippines from Japan. High-quality infrastructure development, expansion of cooperation in the security field, strengthening law enforcement capabilities through capacity building in the field of maritime safety, human security, for inclusive growth. In addition to strengthening support for economic development in Mindanao, it was confirmed that they would cooperate in the Indo-Pacific, North Korea and South China Sea issues. In January 2020, Foreign Minister Motegi visited the Philippines. We exchanged views on bilateral relations, the situation in the Middle East, and the situation in the region including the South China Sea. Also, in a telephone conversation held between Foreign Minister Rokushin and Foreign Minister Motegi in May of the same year, confirmed the importance of cooperation with the international community in order to respond to the new coronavirus infection as soon as the situation settled. The two ministers accelerated bilateral dialogue in various fields. We are in agreement to further develop the relationship between the two countries. I pray that the relationship between the Philippines and Japan will continue to be friendly. That's all.